Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're looking at a truly amazing devotional that compares growing up and growing our character to growing a giant healthy plant. It's this fascinating look at how we connect to the world around us and the things that actually help us become the absolute best version of ourselves. I'm so excited to guide you through this because the way this devotional uses these vivid visual ideas of vines and branches, it's just a perfect way for us to break this all down.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever actually tried to grow a plant? Maybe you planted a little green bean seed in a paper cup for a science project, or, maybe you helped water some tomatoes out in the backyard. If you have, you know it takes dirt, water, sunlight, and a whole lot of patience. Well, the text we're looking at today tells us that growing a garden is actually exactly like growing our own hearts and minds. We're going to take a bit of a garden tour today to understand exactly how that whole process works.
All right, let's just dive straight into this fantastic quote from our devotional text. It says, "I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman." This specific verse from the book of John is basically the map for our entire explainer today. It sets up this beautiful picture of a garden, but there's a big kind of old-fashioned word right there at the end that we definitely need to figure out before we go any further.
And that word is husbandman. Let's decode this big word right now. In the context of this devotional, a husbandman is simply the gardener. Specifically, it represents God as the ultimate gardener who carefully, lovingly tends to the plant. Just like a master gardener knows exactly how much water a tiny seedling needs, or exactly where to plant a seed so it gets the perfect amount of morning sun, God acts as the gardener who cares for us and watches over our growth.
Section 1. The roots and branches. How we connect to the vine.
So let's figure out exactly who is who in this giant living plant. We know God is the gardener, but what about the rest of the garden? The devotional clearly illustrates our roles. Jesus is the true vine. Think of the vine as the strong, thick trunk of the plant that connects deep into the soil and provides all the life-giving nutrients. And us, we are the branches attached directly to him. The devotional makes it super clear that what we really need is the presence of Jesus in our lives. If we want our branch to be healthy, we absolutely have to stay tightly connected to that strong trunk.
Moving on to Section 2. Growing the best fruit. What kind of harvest are we making?
Now, the devotional talks a lot about being fruit-bearing branches, but what does that actually mean for, say, a 10-year-old going to school, playing sports, or just hanging out at home? Well, obviously, we aren't talking about growing literal apples or bananas out of our ears. The fruit the text is talking about are these awesome character traits. The devotional explicitly says we should maintain an experience that breathes love, tenderness, kindness, compassion, and affection. These traits of character are the exact fruit that we're supposed to produce on our branches.
But why do we even grow this fruit in the first place? Well, the text says this fruit is presented before the world as a witness that we have a Savior who can uplift and satisfy us. In plain, everyday terms, sharing your favorite toy, being patient when a younger sibling is driving you crazy, or showing compassion to a classmate who's sitting all alone at lunch, that is exactly how you present your fruit to the world. It shows everyone around you the good things that come from being connected to the true vine.
Section 3. What is pruning? The snip that helps us grow. Okay, so we've talked about the sunny, happy parts of growing fruit. But any good gardener knows a plant needs way more than just sunshine to reach its full potential. Imagine you're a gardener, right? And you have this plant that you absolutely love. Why on earth would you take a pair of sharp metal clippers and just chop pieces off of it? It sounds totally backwards. It sounds like you're hurting the plant. And honestly, the devotional actually admits that when this happens to us, we frequently feel like the Lord is against us. But it's not a punishment. The devotional calls this process purging, which is really just another word for pruning. It defines it as removing all that is useless, all that would hinder our growth in the Christian life. It's a helpful snip. Imagine a dead leaf or a sick twig is stealing all the water away from a brand new, healthy piece of fruit. The gardener has to clip away the bad stuff so the branch can grow bigger and stronger. The absolutely crucial point here is that the goal of removing useless things is entirely so we can bring forth more fruit. When you face a really hard math test that frustrates you, or maybe a tough disagreement with a best friend, it might feel like you're being snipped by those clippers. You might feel like everything is going wrong, but really it's just a pruning process. It's helping you learn patience, it's forcing you to practice forgiveness, and ultimately it's helping you bring forth much more beautiful fruit. The text gives us some really great advice for when we feel like we're being pruned. It says instead of feeling like God is against us, we should look to ourselves. We need to check and see if there's maybe a bad habit we've left undone, or a bad attitude we need to take away from our lives. You know, it's okay to have tough days. During those times, just take a deep breath and ask yourself if there's something you need to let go of to stand right with God and keep growing.
Section 4, staying connected every day. Our daily watering routine. So how do we actually keep our branches firmly attached to the true vine every single day? Because a garden doesn't just grow overnight, right? It takes daily attention. The devotional introduces an amazing word for this, collaborators. It says that it is the Savior's delight to see his followers act as collaborators with God. That is just a really cool way of saying we are literally teammates. We are working under him, right alongside him in the garden, helping to produce this wonderful harvest. To be a great collaborator, the text gives us a simple daily routine. First, we must daily lay hold of Jesus, meaning we try to connect with him every single day, keeping his truth shining in our hearts. Second, we practice self-sacrifice. That simply means putting others first, just as Christ did. And third, we've got to be a team player. Or as the text puts it, receiving bountifully and giving bountifully. If you receive kindness, you turn right around and give that kindness back out to someone else.
Which leads us perfectly to our final big question for you to think about. What kind of fruit will your branch grow today? You've got the true vine giving you strength, you have the great gardener tending to you, and you know exactly what kind of harvest you're supposed to make. So I challenge you, take what you've learned from this devotional, step out into the world today, and go show someone some real kindness and compassion right now.